Another work which Spookies reminds me of, the last one I want to mention directly, is Mark Z. Danielewski's postmodern horror novel House of Leaves. Not because they both feature weird houses, but because of a very specific moment in Spookies that reminds me of a very specific moment in House of Leaves. The way they both experiment with their format to sort of compress and decompress your perception of time. Let me explain. If you've never read it, one of the things House of Leaves is known for is the way it experiments with its format as a way to tell the story. Most books are fundamentally formatted the same exact way. A series of text presented in a linear format on a series of pages. Maybe you have some footnotes or some art splashed throughout, but generally, whether I'm talking about Harry Potter or Paradise Lost, the format has not fundamentally changed. As a result of that, while the speed two readers go through the same book might be different, given things like their reading proficiency or whether they're stopping to reread the same passage and comprehend it, a given reader will generally go through each page of a book at a similar rate. The first 10 pages and the last 10 pages are going to take you about the same time to read. House of Leaves is not like that. Not only is the book not presented strictly linearly, asking you to flip back and forth between different sections of the book to follow footnotes and even go read entire other sections of the book, but individual pages are laid out in bizarre ways, requiring you to rotate the book, read things upside down, hold it up to a mirror, all sorts of strange methods of altering the reader's experience with the actual book. It's part of why the book has been famously hard to adapt into any other medium, including audiobooks. This is not just a gimmick, it is part of how the book conveys its story and emotions. Early on, the book is relatively straightforwardly laid out, but as the characters in the book descend into the labyrinth of the house on Ash Tree Lane, the book itself becomes labyrinthian. As the characters are growing tired and losing sense of time, you are taking longer with individual pages. Where once a page might have taken you 5 minutes to read, now it might take you 10 minutes, 20. More if you're flipping to find every single footnote and the appendix references on that footnote, and so on. But then, as the story starts moving faster, as the characters find themselves struggling for freedom, the formatting of the book changes again. Now, there are just a few words per page. Where once a single page took you 20 minutes, now you can get through 20 pages in a single minute. As the speed of the story changes, the speed you are turning the pages also changes. It's a wild effect that, if you've never read the book, really does achieve its goal of connecting you to the emotions the characters are facing. As they are frustrated, reading the book becomes frustrating. As the speed at which the characters are moving, traversing the labyrinth, increases, so does your speed through the physical pages of the book. Look, I don't need to tell you House of Leaves is good. It's one of, maybe the, most acclaimed novels of the 21st century so far. It's a masterpiece. Someone in your life has already told you about this book, or else you are the someone in other people's lives telling them to read it. While I'm not going to say it's as effectively done or emotionally resonant as House of Leaves, Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion does pull a similar trick throughout, in a completely different format, in a way that's always really impressed me. The game opens by telling you that your goal is to make it through 1,000 rooms. While you play the game, there is always a room counter on the screen to help you gauge your progress. The trick here is that not all of these rooms are created equal. Initially, it seems like all of the rooms are going to be roughly the same length, but then you end up getting some weird, bigger rooms later on. Specimen 11 is first introduced in room 710, one of the scripted rooms which is always the same, a fast food restaurant. Specimen 12 is itself room 810, a large mansion inside of the even larger mansion the game takes place in, which drives people mad. Both of these rooms only count as single rooms, despite taking quite a bit of time. The same time in which you could have cleared 20 or 30 normal rooms easily. When this happens, it is kind of frustrating, deliberately, I think. As you go, Spooky checks in with you occasionally, specifically each quarter of the game, in rooms 250, 500, and 750. Every time you talk to her, she is getting visibly more frustrated that her monsters haven't killed you yet. She doesn't want you to finish all 1,000 rooms. She doesn't think it should be possible, and so, as you go, she's throwing more roadblocks your way. At one point, around room 500, she warps you all the way back to nearly the very beginning of the game. It doesn't last long though, fortunately. As Spooky is trying to slow you down, your room counter, the speed you are traversing the house, is getting slower. The rooms are not just getting harder, they're getting longer. Then, much like House of Leaves, this reverses. Late in the game, while you're being chased, you get chased through a bunch of rooms, repeatedly, that are just door, 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 door. No navigation required. Again, as the breakneck pace of the later chases is happening, the speed at which you are increasing your room counter, the speed you are running through rooms, the speed you are turning the pages increases. It's a small thing, but it just feels amazing after you've been fighting to slowly progress through a handful of frustratingly long rooms. Not only are you back to the pace you started at, but moving faster than before. It's a neat trick. It's really well done. Special thank you to my patrons at patreon.com/Zuldim and my YouTube channel members. Rekka, Florine, Rachel Judith Chumness, David Duran, Alex Smith, Picayune, Alex Stewart, Hakan Boyam, Pete Lee, Jake G, Knittind, Shiny Emptyhead, Lucas Craden, That's All, Alex, Bell Mage, Malachi Murphy, Dunio, Strix 2031, Rachel Aurelia, Sir Darkon. If you'd like to watch the full video this clip was originally cut from, you can find the link in the description below. Thank you for watching.